So the Jet saga continues. In fact, this comes shortly after the promoter Naresh Goyal and his wife were offloaded from moving aircraft in Mumbai. The story today is that how the Jet's revival is contingent upon finding a third investor from the domestic market. Now, while the lenders have initiated a search for such third investor, there is the lenders are yet to receive a formal offer from Hinduja Group, which is reportedly has evinced interest in investing in the airline. Now, contrary to expectations and media reports, the Hinduja Group hasn't yet approached the lenders, led by State Bank of India. So the jet story continues. The airline has been grounded. The slots have been taken away by other airlines. Even the aircrafts are in question, and increasingly, if this airline is not revived, the chances of the revival gets slimmer by the day. So in fact, the jet saga is a typical saga of a promoter who held on to the reins even if the water level was rising. So had Naresh Goyal let go of the reins at a valuation that would have been more in tune with the market conditions, the jet would have been able to get in an investor. The airline would still be flying. So it was a typical case of how a promoter wanted a certain valuation, couldn't get it. Now, as we have increasingly seen, once an airline gets grounded, it takes time, effort, energy, because there's already at a top talent. There is already a flight of top talent happening at Jet Airways. So it will be increasingly be difficult. Also, Jet hit a air pocket primarily because the way that the aviation market is so structured as well. So there are two things which have always been intrinsic in making an airline viable. One is the way that the ATF prices move, which is the cost of fuel to fly an airline, and also the way the kind of exposure that they have to the market as well. So the Jet loans absolutely ballooned out of control. So Jet has around 85,000 crore in unpaid loans to the bank, and this was absolutely what sounded the death knell for it. The lenders of Jet Airways are frantically searching to get a third investor. Now the airline has been grounded for more than a month. There is a need to restart flights because it's not only the slots which have been occupied by others, even the clientele moves in, the flyers, the Jet's passengers would have moved to other airlines as well. While there have been reports about the group had begun discussions with Jet's existing investor, which is Etihad, for a joint bid, which is Hinduja, it is the formal offer by Hinduja and Etihad is yet to come. Now, it's also the way that the shareholding is structured. Now, when you look at the founder Naresh Goyal, he holds close to 51% in the airline. The rest is held by public shareholders, which includes Etihad, which is 24% stakeholder. So, post debt to equity conversion by banks, Goyal's stake in the airline will reduce from 51% to around 25%, while that of Etihad will fall to around 12% for 24%. So Etihad's shareholding comes down from 24 to 12. Also, when you look at the FDI regulation in aviation, a foreign airline can only have up to 49% stake in an Indian airline. Etihad had evinced interest in rescuing Jet, but it has refused to increase its stake from the current levels because it's absolutely unwilling to go beyond this. Now, there have been media reports. In fact, Mint has reported on 16th April about Etihad, India's NIF, and private equity firms, which is TPG and Indigo Partners, had been shortlisted to place binding bids for Jet. Also, a group of minority shareholders and frequent flyers of Jet have reached out to SBI Capital Markets, which is running the bid process, to present a proposal to the lenders to revive the airline. So, well, there are too many moving pieces right now in the Jet story. Also, one needs an investor which has the heft to see through, not only to start the airline, but to also take it through the troubled waters. If you look at the bidding eligibility conditions, the strategic bidders looking to invest in Jet should have a minimum net worth of 1,000 crores and at least 3 years experience in the aviation sector. And for the financial investors, The qualifying conditions are minimum assets under management of 2,000 crore or at least 1,000 crore in committed funds for investment in Indian firms or assets. So it's not a very nice spot for neither Jet or the Indian civil aviation space to be in at. There have been failures of Indian airlines earlier as well. Uh, it will be a tragedy if Jet would not be able to be revived, not only for the airline or the stakeholders, but also for the huge workforce which has unnecessarily been caught up in this quagmire